In 1970, there was a student who worked part-time as a baggage handler at an airport. His name was Freddie Mercury. After work, he would go home, but only for a short while, because he loved hanging out and watching his favorite band at a bar. His parents disapproved of this behavior, thinking Freddie was wasting his nights away, but Freddie ignored their concerns and left anyway. At the bar, Freddie watched his favorite college band called Smile. After the concert, he approached the band members to share the songs he had written. Freddie loved writing music. Coincidentally, the band was going through a rough patch, and their lead singer had just left due to a lack of progress. Freddie seized the moment and volunteered to be the new vocalist. At first, the band was hesitant because of Freddie's prominent teeth, but everything changed when they heard his incredible voice. Freddie was officially accepted as the new vocalist. That same night, Freddie also met a student named Mary Austin. He was instantly drawn to her. The next day, he visited Mary at her part-time job in a fashion store, and from that moment, they grew closer. Freddie even invited Mary to watch his first performance with the newly reformed band. On that occasion, the band changed its name from Smile to Queen. Queen began to rise in popularity and gained many fans. To take things further, they wanted to record in a professional studio, but they didn't have enough money. With determination, they sold their van to rent studio time. Meanwhile, Freddie and Mary's relationship continued to deepen. Freddie invited Mary and his friends to his house to celebrate his birthday. At the party, it was revealed that Freddie's real name was Farrokh Bulsara, and that he and his family were immigrants from Pakistan. Not wanting to use his birth name anymore, he officially changed it to Freddie Mercury and even updated his passport. During the same event, Freddie's parents openly criticized his behavior in front of Mary and the guests. Feeling uncomfortable, Freddie chose to play the piano instead. Suddenly, he received a call from John Reed, a manager at EMI Records. John would later become Queen's manager. He offered Freddie a chance to represent Queen and record an album. Freddie gladly accepted. With the help of the record label and their new manager, Queen's fame soared. They started appearing on major radio and TV stations in England. One day, Freddie, who loved Mary deeply, decided to propose to her. He told her she was his true love. Soon after, the band informed Freddie that they had been invited to tour America. Everyone was thrilled. Queen's American tour was a success, attracting enthusiastic fans. But during the tour, Freddie encountered some strange experiences. For example, he was invited into a restroom by a truck driver, and though unsure of what would happen, he didn't refuse. After the tour, Queen had a meeting with Ray Foster, the head of EMI Records, to discuss their new album. Freddie proposed combining rock and opera, a concept Ray found odd and commercially risky. But Freddie stood firm, and eventually, Ray relented. The band was then taken to a beautiful, quiet location to work on the album. They were accompanied by assistant manager Paul. Freddie, missing Mary, wrote a heartfelt song for her titled Love of My Life. However, Paul seemed to develop an inappropriate interest in Freddie. At one point, Paul made an indecent advance, which Freddie firmly rejected because he didn't want to hurt Mary. After the incident, Freddie was upset and took time to reflect. In that moment of solitude, he composed Bohemian Rhapsody, which would go on to become Queen's most iconic song. The band continued writing songs for the album, with everyone contributing, although most of the best material still came from Freddie. Once the album was recorded, the band returned to Ray Foster to present their work. Ray was dissatisfied, finding the lyrics strange and unorthodox. He was particularly unhappy with Bohemian Rhapsody being chosen as the lead single because of its 6-minute runtime, double the standard for radio airplay. Still, Freddie insisted it had to be the single. Unable to agree, Queen decided to part ways with the label. They sought other avenues to promote their music. Freddie approached Kenny, a well-known DJ and radio host, asking him to play the song. Mary, who accompanied Freddie, was surprised by how close he seemed with Kenny, a well-known gay DJ. Nonetheless, Kenny agreed to play Bohemian Rhapsody, and it was an instant hit with listeners. The song became a milestone in the early explosion of Queen's album. Almost all the songs on the album became hits, and Queen rose to global fame. Their success led to a world tour, but it also caused Freddie to drift apart from Mary. This was taken advantage of by Paul, who had always been in love with Freddie. Gradually, Freddie began to stray and grew more interested in Paul. Mary sensed that something was off with Freddie. One day, she asked what was really going on. With a heavy heart, Freddie admitted that he was bisexual. Mary was shocked by the confession and chose to leave him. Years passed, and Freddie began to change his appearance, keeping a mustache just like Paul. His attitude also changed, and this was noticed by the other Queen members, who began to distance themselves from him. Feeling lonely, Freddie asked Paul to throw a big party at his new house. The party turned out to be wild. After the party, Freddie still contacted Mary to ask her to come back, but she refused unless he returned to the right path. Around that time, CBS Records approached Paul with a solo career offer for Freddie, worth $4 million, a huge amount at the time. Paul brought this up to John Reid, asking him to convince Freddie to accept the offer. When Freddie returned home from an event, John Reid tried to present the offer, using the Jackson 5 as an example, explaining how only Michael Jackson became a star. Freddie, however, was furious. He misunderstood and thought John wanted him to leave Queen. In anger, he fired John Reid on the spot. Paul, who had remained silent during this crucial moment, did nothing to defend John. It seemed as if he had deliberately set John up. Before leaving, John warned Freddie that he was keeping a venomous snake. Freddie's actions strained his relationship with the other Queen members, who felt he was becoming reckless. Still, their conflicts often resulted in hit songs. Freddie's deviant behavior began to attract media attention. During a press conference for their new album, a journalist asked about his sexuality. Offended, Freddie stormed out. Queen then worked on an album promoting gender equality and LGBTQ+ acceptance. For a music video, they wore women's clothing, but it was banned in America, causing further rifts within the band. Amid the tension, Freddie accepted the solo deal after being persuaded by Paul. The Queen members couldn't accept this unilateral decision, but Freddie insisted he wasn't disbanding the band. He just wanted to explore on his own. The relationship between Freddie and his bandmates became strained, and he became increasingly isolated, with only Paul by his side. Paul continued to influence Freddie negatively, especially by encouraging harmful behaviors. He also limited Freddie's contact with people who cared about him, including Jim Beach, Queen's new manager, and even Mary. These toxic influences took a toll on Freddie, and his health began to decline. While recording in Munich, he coughed up blood. Despite their distance, Mary remained concerned for Freddie. After not hearing from him for a long time, she traveled to Munich. Coincidentally, Paul was not home, so Mary and Freddie had a chance to talk. Mary informed Freddie about Live Aid, a global charity concert. Freddie was shocked. Paul had never told him about it. Freddie was further heartbroken to learn that Mary was pregnant with another man's child. Still, she encouraged him to turn his life around, reminding him that many people still loved him. His family, his friends, and even his fans. She also warned him that Paul had been using him all along. When Paul returned, Freddie confronted him about Live Aid. Paul dismissed the event as meaningless and unprofitable. Realizing the truth, Freddie immediately fired Paul. Paul, in anger, threatened to expose Freddie's private photos and secrets to the media. But Freddie no longer cared. He returned to England and began work on his second solo album. With Jim Beach's help, Freddie reconciled with the other Queen members. After some discussions, they agreed to reunite. Freddie then went to the doctor and received devastating news. He was HIV positive and didn't have much time left. He confided in his bandmates, who responded with empathy and support. Meanwhile, Paul fulfilled his threat, selling Freddie's photos and secrets to the media. Freddie ignored it. Queen then contacted the Live Aid organizers to confirm their participation. Freddie and the band began rehearsing to rebuild their chemistry for the big event at Wembley Stadium. Before the concert, Freddie visited his parents to apologize and ask for their blessing. Backstage, he reunited with Mary, who came with her boyfriend. They supported each other as friends. Soon, Queen took the stage and was welcomed by thousands of fans. The audience was mesmerized, singing along with Freddie and the band. After the concert, Queen continued working on a new album. At the age of 45, in 1991, Freddie Mercury died of complications from HIV. This is the story behind the creation of Queen's greatest songs and the turbulent life of their legendary frontman, a man with an extraordinary voice, an unusual path, and a tragic end.